Okay, welcome everyone. It's Thursday, so we'll do a gratitude session today. And the theme that I want to focus on is this idea of feeling grateful for anxiety. I was going to say feeling grateful for our anxiety, and part of this it comes out of a coaching session that I just had this morning with a client where we talked about uh, you know the how anxiety can oftentimes be this yeah is really detrimental to his ability to get things done, which makes a ton of sense. Anxiety is typically pretty uncomfortable, but then the more we explored it, the more we realized like there are certain situations in which anxiety is actually very much a positive thing. So for example, as a live musician, right, that the jitters that you get before you go on stage oftentimes actually enhances the performance, or being in an athletic competition and it being the Olympic Games, or something's really at stake. And so the question is, what is it about those situations where anxiety is actually something that we could view as actually being positive? And before you think I'm sort of completely crazy, like how on earth is anxiety ever something desirable? um, the underlying mechanics of what's going on with anxiety really has very much to do about context. So the example that I would give there is there's a reason roller coaster rides are only like 2.5 minutes long. If they were 30 minutes long, it'd be kind of a nightmare. Or if we didn't have the context that the roller coaster ride was safe, then suddenly that anxiety that we're actually paying good money for, right? We pay money in order to have that roller coaster ride really activate some anxious physiological effects, because on some level it's enjoyable, but only if the context is right and there is a sense of like the explanatory style for why this anxiety is happening makes sense to us. When it doesn't make sense to us, that's when it becomes a nightmare, right? That's when if we don't feel safe, or if there isn't some kind of context around some degree of predictability, then it becomes really challenging. So the invitation here is to learn how to begin viewing some of the anxious experiences that we have through a different lens. So like I said earlier, the physiological effect of anxiety before I go on stage to play with my rock band in front of a really crowded room, it's not that anxious feeling is the same as I would have if I'm about to get into a car accident. What makes it different, though, is that one of them is something that that I can see is potentially beneficial to me, because it's going to up my game or up my performance and make the actual end result of the experience in some ways more positive or more pleasurable. So the question is, and this is challenging, but the question is, can we take some of the anxious experiences that we have and reframe them and create a new lens or a new context through which to view it? And so that's my hope, or that's my challenge for today, is that we can play with that edge a little bit. And so I invite you to think about a situation in which you felt anxious, or maybe you repeatedly feel anxious in this type of a situation. And let's go explore how reframing or changing the context, or just opening up to the possibility that maybe if we experience that through a different context, that it may change how we feel about the anxiety itself. So let's try that out. As usual, let's start by closing our eyes and then dropping into the present moment and noticing your body taking up space, your body being in contact with the ground, because gravity is pulling us down. So noticing the feet in contact with the ground. And it helps to actually be very intentional about readjusting our feet to be flat on the ground. So again, I have this tendency to cross my feet when I'm sitting in a chair. So I just uncross them, putting both feet flat on the ground so I can really feel in this moment my body literally grounding, being in contact with the ground. And then the same goes for if you're sitting in a chair or on the edge of a bed, wherever you find yourself, noticing the parts of your body that are in contact with the chair. And I want you to imagine that there's an invisible thread that's coming out the top of your head and it's just gently pulling your head upwards. So finding this balance between feeling solid and grounded, rooted in the earth, and at the same time being pulled upwards ever so gently. And then just noticing the simplicity of this moment right now, just sitting, just existing and sitting. That's all. And seeing if you can very intentionally shift your attitude towards a sense of openness, just for the next few minutes, being open minded, open hearted, open to possibilities. Specifically, I'd love to explore experiences that are unexperienced that causes or has caused anxiety. Just take a moment and bring that situation to mind and feel into it. And notice, first and foremost, where in the body do you feel anxiety? Noticing your belly, your chest, your shoulders, palms of your hands, throat, head. I'm just picking up on the purely physiological sensation of anxiety. What does it feel like? Where do you feel it? Now shifting your attention from the purely physical plane and moving into more of the mental plane. And what exactly is it that you feel anxious about? So noticing that underneath the anxiety is always a set of thoughts or beliefs. What are you afraid is going to happen? What are you worried about? And right from the get-go, just noticing that we typically don't feel anxious about things that aren't important to us. We don't care, or it doesn't matter. we're very unlikely to actually feel any anxiety. The question is, what's what is it that matters in this situation? Is that our body and our mind is experiencing anxiety? Be our safety, be because we're really hoping for a certain kind of outcome because it's really important to us. And now here comes a bit of the challenge, and that is to see if you can open up the sense of gratitude, the fact that your body and your mind, your organism is alerting you to the fact that something important is happening. The anxiety is really the canary in the coal mine. Whether it's anxiety about your safety, shows that we really value self-care and our health. It's important that we pay attention. The anxiety is about some kind of performance or desired outcome. Again, maybe feeling some appreciation or gratitude for that experience of connecting with something that's really important to us. In this way, we're kind of stretching. We're noticing that on the surface, the anxiety is usually quote unquote bad or quote unquote a problem. Maybe we can invert this and notice the anxiety is actually pointing towards something that is really meaningful and really important. And what is that? Get clear about it. And imagine living a life in which there was never any anxiety at all. How how flat that would be. Never feeling nervousness or anxiety about a first date, or never getting on a roller coaster ride and never getting to feel that, the jitters ahead of time, or doing something important where you feel nervous or anxious prior to maybe giving a talk. Invitation to move out of this black and white thinking about anxiety being bad. Anxiety pretty much always means that something important is happening. And the more we can connect with what that is, the more sense we can make of the anxious feelings. Go ahead and take a deep breath in. Long exhale through the mouth. Another deep breath in. Long exhale. Relaxing your shoulders and your jaw. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and open your eyes. So took a little bit of a gamble there. I'm not sure if this one worked for you guys, but I hope it's just an interesting exploration. And again, I leave you with the invitation to, the next time you notice yourself feeling anxious about something, see if you can get clear on like what's really important. What is that? And then maybe experience the gratitude for the clarity and the awareness of something important happening in your life. So hope that worked out. I'll stick around for a few more minutes if anyone wants to chat. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.